How do you know if you are ready to be a husband or a wife? They say you have to be a husband or a wife before you actually become a husband or a wife. But how do you know? This is why it's important to learn and to be a student of love and marriage and relationships. And when you listen to those who are in healthy unions that's been together for like 30, 40 plus years, they'll tell you that there's specific traits that you have to become in order to be ready before you even enter into it. And one of the traits that I've heard and I've learned is that you have to go into it thinking and considering how can you serve the other person. Both people have to come into it thinking, how do I meet the needs of this person? How do I show up in this person's life and be able to be of service as unto the Lord? The second trait is you have to be able to have emotional intelligence. Most people talk about emotional intelligence, but they really don't understand what emotional intelligence is. One of the key factors of emotional intelligence is having understanding. The Bible says, in all you're getting, get understanding. If you're not able to sit how you feel aside and your perspective aside to be able to understand the other person, then you're not ready for marriage. And if you don't learn from the experience of dating and courting to get to know somebody, if you're not taking something from that, if you're not educating yourself about yourself and being self-aware, but not just of yourself, but others, then you will never be ready. People think that relationships and marriage is complicated. I think the part of the complication could be your part, if you're not a willing vessel. Most people, they're not willing to accept constructive criticism and be able to receive if they're wrong about something or not. It's like, no, it's got to be the other person, but why not consider what the other person is saying or feeling? Because we can think all these things about ourselves, but if someone else doesn't feel that way, maybe that's something to consider. Maybe that can be an opportunity to improve. So it's just about being able to see yourself. This is what intimacy is. And no one will know you better than the person that you're intimate with. And intimacy is not just physical. It's so many levels and layers. But you have to be willing to show up. You have to be having the mindset of, how can I serve this person? How can I show up in their life and be able to meet their needs? And if you know you can't, that's the whole point of gathering the data to get to know someone. But you got to have vision for what you actually want in order to get into something. Especially with men have to be able to lead the woman. But if he doesn't have clear vision and he's getting into something and he doesn't know what he wants, that's not going to work. You have to have clear vision. The Bible even says without a vision, people perish. And it's all about, what do you see for yourself? Because if you can see clearly, then you will know when you meet someone that they align with your vision. There has to be alignment, and you have to get into it considering, how can this work? How can this work? But if you don't know what you want, if you don't have clear vision, then you're going to waste people's time. And then it will never reach the level of marriage. That should be the destination. It shouldn't be where, just like you get on a train. If the train says on, like, I'm originally from New York, when you look at, when you get in a subway, it tells you the signs. This train goes to Brooklyn, or this train goes to the Bronx, or this train goes to Long Island, whatever. If you know what that train is saying and where it's going, and you get on that train knowing that that's where it's going, then it should be an obvious thing that that's where you want to go. So why get on the train unless you're trying to go sightseeing and explore? But that's where the train is going. And you have to understand that when you're getting involved with someone, if they tell you this is what I'm looking for, and you get on that train, then they're going to assume that that's where you're going. But that's wasting people's time, if you don't know where you're going. Like, who gets on a train or a plane and not know where they're going? Like, that's a lack of intentionality. That's a lack of purpose. And time is short. No one has time to be wasting time. But that only happens when a person doesn't have clear vision. When a person don't know what they want. Because if you know what you want, you will know it when you see it. Like, if you're clear about what you want, it's just a matter of seeing Does this align with what my vision is? Does this align with what I want? And then you will be able to know, and you will go into it looking for the necessary information that will give you the answers. So you have to be able to do the work though. You know, people go into relationships and marriage and they don't do the work. They don't introspect. They don't learn from their gathering data experiences, meaning dating or, you know, getting to know someone. Like, you should be learning about yourself and other people and what you want, so that when you know what you want, you will know it when you see it. And when you know it when you see it, it doesn't take long. That's why people get married soon. And I'm not talking about rushing. Hasty and soon are two different things. Hasty is moving with anxiety. But when you're intentional and you know what you want, why delay that? Just like you see something that's very valuable and you've been looking for this valuable thing, would you waste time with that valuable, precious thing that you've been waiting for your whole life? And you know when you see it, you know it when you see it. Would you waste time on that precious, valuable thing? You would not want someone else to have that. So you're going to do what it takes to get that precious thing. And so it's just a reflection on where someone is though. So if you're not there, if you're not clear on your vision, if you don't know what you want, you're going to waste people's time. And you can break people's hearts. So the key is being able to have these 3 specific traits, because it's all encompassing. Number 1, you go into it being ready to serve. How can I serve this person? But understanding that it has to be a mutual thing. And number 2, having emotional intelligence. Being able to do the work within yourself to heal, because brokenness blinds you to what the needs of someone else is. All you can think about is yourself. When you're broken, you're defensive. You can't receive constructive criticism. You can't even receive when somebody's trying to tell you that you're hurting them. You won't even know. You won't be aware, because you're thinking about yourself and how you feel. And if you find yourself responding to other people in that way, then you're not ready. So when they say you have to be it before you have it, this is a part of the process. This is why singleness, it's important to do the work. See, people tend to hide behind their actual work. But work doesn't see into you. Intimacy is seeing into the person and knowing. Knowing is intimacy. But a lot of times we can put a mask on and show up and be, awarded by our work, but it doesn't work the same in a marriage or, when you're building for that purpose. It doesn't matter what your rewards and awards are and your accolades or the performances. That doesn't matter. It's about what's on the inside. It's about heart. Just like how God requires us to show up in spirit and in truth. Where's your heart at? That's what it requires. It requires vulnerability. It requires sacrifice. And the third thing is accountability. You have to be able to be accountable and be able to see within yourself where you're wrong so that you can make it right. So those are very amazing things that I've learned, and I see how it can make for successful marriages. And I believe that that's also God's, intent.